So, who do you like? Archana, take one. Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel and back to another episode. We're here with my good friend, sort of childhood friend, we'll get into it, Archana. She's an artist, a recording artist, a singer, so many other things. Do you want to talk a little bit about your journey from what you were doing and into this like full-time music profession, and what was that kind of like for you?
Yeah, so I grew up, we grew up in the same neighborhood.
We're like childhood neighbors randomly.
Neighbors.
So random.
But I have been doing music for ages. It first started when my mom stuck me into Carnatic music classes, and I didn't like it, but I stuck with it.
Yeah.
And I think I really credit that for the reason that I can sing, that I can hold a tune. And then I went to do Kathak and like all sorts of Indian dance and cultural related things. And then I did like a camp called Tomato Patch. Did you ever hear of that?
Tomato Patch, yeah.
I did Tomato Patch, and the first year I was an acting major, and I got like the lead role, and I was like, wow, acting could be my thing. So the creativity started there, connecting to Western culture started there, because I was really connected to Indian culture at that point. And then the next year I was a singing major, and I was like, wait, I can actually sing.
Yeah.
And so the first song that I sang that was my solo was I Won't Say I'm in Love from Hercules.
Oh my God.
And I had the like teachers be the muses.
That's cute.
And I felt like I could really emote through that. I wasn't playing someone else. I could really portray myself.
Okay, interesting.
And so then I started doing a cappella in high school and in college. Kind of like did a lot of that.
Yeah.
But while I was doing that, I was like composing for a cappella, and I was music directing, and I was performing and singing the solos and stuff like that. So we recorded an album, and then I realized I have some talent there as well.
Yeah.
And around that time, I had like a breakup that inspired my first songwriting experience.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like on a beach with some friends, like we were camping, and I like was feeling inspired, and I just like was kind of a couple beers in, and I like went to the tent and like recorded my little voice memo for my song Alchemy. It was like the first song I ever wrote, and I was like, what is this feeling of something coming out of me? This muse came and visited me. I was drunk, and it was great, and I wanted to do this so much more. So I started exploring songwriting in that way, and then once I graduated school, I decided to switch into music because I majored in animal science. Okay. I decided to switch into music full time, and I recorded a cappella groups all across the country, which kind of helped me learn about other creative styles and stuff like that. Yeah. And then I decided to get a degree in music industry and music business from NYU. So I just graduated with my master's in music business.
Oh yeah, you did. I totally forgot.
I totally have a degree in this. It's crazy. And then this whole time I have been writing. Yeah. And I used writing as a way for me to get to know myself more. Yeah. So when I perform, I'm coming into my body and like accepting myself as a human being, and I feel every time I perform I'm closer to who I am and who I'm supposed to be. When I write, it's like the same thing. It's just performing as a body high and writing as a mental high. And so
that's awesome.
I keep chasing the highs.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, you know what's interesting is like I feel like when people go to pursue like any sort of a full-time or like life choice that's like, this is what I'm gonna do. Mm-hmm. It's like with brown people, I feel like it's one of two discussions. Like one, how am I gonna convince myself that I can do this? And two, how am I gonna convince my family I can do this? And the thing about art is like it's incredible, but there isn't necessarily that like financial like safety net that's like, you know, you can have a full-time job, you can have benefits that come from that, and that can be like a scary space. So what was that conversation with yourself, and when was that? And then how was that conversation with your parents to be like, I can do this?
Yeah, so I think my parents recognize that I'm a little bit of a special flower to them. Like, I'm not hardy with emotions. I can be with other people, but with myself, I'm like, I have to follow my heart. Like, I have to do what I need to do. Which is why I picked animal science instead of going to something like bio to go into regular human medicine. Yeah. And so I just, you know, I have eclectic tastes. So when I graduated college with a degree in animal science, and I told my parents, I am moving to Rochester, New York to work at the vocal company, and I am going to live in a house with all of my friends, and I'm going to learn how to record a cappella music. Yeah. It took them a while. I had like given them hints before, but they knew that that's where my heart was, and they knew that that's where my talent was. So I'm really lucky in that, Indian people and Indian families can be very traditional. My family is very traditional, and in that they want what's best for me, and that is the immigrant mentality coming from India especially.
Of course.
But they recognize that if my talent lies somewhere, I have to pursue that.
Yeah.
So...
And also, like, what they want that's best for you is different than what you want what's best for you. But the key here is that they want you to be happy and successful. Exactly. So it's kind of like both sides want the same thing. It's just different approach.
Right. So without them, I would be floundering. If I'm being honest, I would have figured it out eventually, but I think I probably would have done more artistry than business. And maybe my artistry would be at a different point. I don't know. My parents were like, you have to get a degree. Yeah. You have to get a degree. And all I knew in terms of myself was that I wanted to pursue music. They were like, you have to get a degree in this and not in performing. You have to get a degree in business and you have to get it from a reputable university. So I applied to NYU and Carnegie Mellon. Yeah. And I got into both. And then it was like the discussion of where I should go. You know, they were really with me every step of the way, which I hated and loved at the same time. Yeah. But if it weren't for them urging me to go to school, I wouldn't have a master's under my belt. Yeah. Not that I can use this master's in the pandemic, but one day I will be able to use it.
Post them on the pandemic.
Yeah. I mean, I've even just used the knowledge to promote my single and to release my music so far. So it's been helpful anyways. Absolutely. But yeah.
How is that kind of journey of self-doubt for you? Like, I think with art, it's always hard because you're like, can I do this? And you can do it. But then, anxiety and like comparing yourself to other people, social media, et cetera, makes you feel like, am I doing enough? Am I doing the right stuff? Should I be looking different? Should I be making music that maybe caters to a certain audience? Like, how is that, like, how are you able to stay true to what you want to make, the art you believe in?
That is a very hard question because all of us struggle with this so deeply. Yeah. I mean, why do you think it took me I started writing music at 19. Why do you think it took me so long to put out my first single? I'm 25 now. Yeah. Because of self-doubt. Yeah. Crippling self-doubt and anxiety on am I good enough? Do I look good enough? Do people care about what I have to say? How many Instagram followers do I have? And I know we're going to talk about social media eventually, but it's a huge part of it. Yeah. That to be an artist or to be a creative, you also have to market yourself. You have to be disciplined in learning new skills. You have to be up on the times. You have to be what's popping, what's fresh. You have to learn how to be a video editor on TikTok if you're a singer. Like, yeah. I mean, you have to have so many transferable skills. And some people just aren't like that. Some people I'm not like that, Yeah. And I'm trying. For me, the journey with self-doubt is as I come more into myself through my self-discovery journey, through therapy and talking to friends and exploring myself and my identity in different ways, I feel more confident being myself on social media. Yeah. I feel like my social media is a little performative. Maybe not more recently, but before I didn't know what to do. So I was just posting pictures of myself because it's what works. It's what people like. It's what gets me more likes. But did that feel good? No. Yeah. It felt awful. It felt like, oh, why isn't this getting more likes? What is this? It just is so harmful to the actual process of creating art. Yeah. So self-doubt is constant. And I just try to put myself out there as much. And it's just, you have to feel vulnerable constantly. Yeah. I just try to think about how lucky I am that I am a creator that has a muse that like gets ideas from nowhere, that feels like the wind knocked out of her and like can do a stream of consciousness song. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of people have that experience. Mm-hmm. And it's very special. It's few and far between, but it's very special to me when I do have that. Absolutely. And so I'm just lucky that I get to like walk around the planet and have this experience. Yeah. And that I do get to share it if I so choose. And I don't have to.
Yeah. I can't imagine like some 13-year-old on Instagram right now where it's like, me, an adult with a degree, is not able to shut off and put things aside. So I can imagine like a kid that is like far more easily influenced than I am, able to look left from right and be like, okay, this is Instagram, this is reality. Yeah. Do you have these blackout moments where you're like, I'm going to put my phone away, I'm going to delete the app, like let me just close my phone, like I can't stare at this any longer, like do you have that like self-care vibe?
I definitely do. I think my self-care more recently has been, let me embrace this and try to create and be a creative on these apps the way that I would like to be a creative on these apps. Okay, so if I want to post the Instagram live that 10 people watched and that maybe will get like 100 likes compared to 400 likes that I would get, I don't care. I'm going to post it.
Just post
it. I don't care. Yeah. I want the people that want to be there to see what I have to say. Because there are people that want to see what you have to say. Yeah. Regardless of who you are. There's at least one person in the world that wants to know, your creative ideas. At least, Absolutely. So I just, that is more where I take joy. There certainly was a time where I was like, I'm going to do a cleanse. I'm going to do a break and when I come back, I'm going to do it. And I would come back and I wouldn't want to do it. Because... every Thursday I've been gathering with my sister and her husband. We look at our phones and we're like, wow, 8 hours on like Instagram a day.
I'm literally shocked by it.
How much of your life is going to Instagram?
It's such a waste. It's such a waste.
I do think that there are dangerous traps that kids can fall into these days. Our little Gen Zers, but I'm on TikTok and I think that it's a very powerful tool. At least the formula, the algorithm that has been presented to me, the videos that I like, it's empowering. Yeah. It's nothing but empowering. There's a lot of corners for hate on the internet, but as long as these kids can find their way to the good stuff, there's a lot of good stuff out there. And certainly more than there was when we were in high school.
Definitely, yeah. Finding that safe space where you're in the good parts of the internet is like so important because then that's what keeps you afloat. But speaking of staying afloat, how important is it for you to have the right people in your corner, your friends, your family, and what kind of role do they play in your life as an artist?
Yeah, it's really hard. I am someone who, speaking of self-worth, like at a point in my life, I didn't find self-worth, I didn't find validation from myself. Now I'm working towards that, but when I would come up with a demo, I would just send it to friends. I would send it to like 3 friends. And these are people that are like my life friends, my best friends. I want them to stand in my corner always. But who is going to always be like, wow, this is incredible every single time? Yeah. You're never going to hear what you want to hear, right? Yeah. And these people they might be working in business or they might be working in finance or whatever. And they're not musicians. So they don't really care about this demo that I came up with at 3 a.m. Even though they're my best friends, if I send them like 1 a week, they don't really care after a certain point. Really what I have to say. So in terms of people in my corner, I mean, I'm the person in my corner. And I know my family is always in my corner. And I know, all that. Like, my friends are always there for me if I need them. And people really showed up for me when I released my single last week. But I am the person that is validating myself. And I cannot look for that validation anywhere else, which is such a big reminder. I'm literally reminding myself this as we speak, right? Yeah. My single came out last week. As a business person, there's...
Nice sirens also.
I know.
We're in New York, it's fine.
My single came out last week. As a business person, I'm like, I got no playlisting. Yeah. I have less than 1,000 streams. Yeah. Important people follow me, didn't share it. Yeah. Some friends shared it out of obligation that could be sharing it because they liked it, but I knew it was obligation. Yeah. This is how I could look at it. Yeah. And these are facts. However, my single came out last week. Yeah. I put something out into the world. You did. So many people shared it and supported it. Yeah. So many people added it to their playlists. Mm-hmm. That's incredible. If they heard my truth, that is something to celebrate.
So I want to talk a little bit about your music inspirations. So do you have people that you're like, this is the kind of music I want to make, or are there just people that you like listen to their music and it invokes an artist in you? Like, what was that like, and how has it changed over the years? Like, or is there anybody that you've been listening to like childhood till now, still love them, stan forever? What's that like?
So it's kind of weird for me writing pop music because I was like this little I was like this little 5th grader in the West Windsor Plainsboro Public Library. in the CD section in the old library, okay?
What the hell is a CD section? I'm not even like...
Municipal building. Okay. And I was like wandering one day and I just saw this like album cover, like a CD cover, that I was like, oh, this looks really cool. I was like, I'm the main character of my own story. I'm gonna pick this up and listen to it.
Okay, like mood.
Yeah. And it was this band called Radiohead. And can you just imagine like 12-year-old like little brown girl like just listens like rocking out to radio. Just like what's Radiohead? And it was when the first I wasn't 12, maybe I was 13 or something, but the first Twilight movie came out. And they had the song 15 Step in their credits. Mm-hmm. So I had heard the first song I had heard that song on the album, I believe. And I was like, oh wait, I know this song and I like this song. And so then it hooked me for the rest of the album. I can't say that I would have re-listened to it if I didn't know that first song. I listened to the rest of it and it is still to this day like my life album, like In Rainbows by Radiohead.
I love that.
And it just it informed this like cycle of music discovery for me, where I was like, this isn't on the radio. This is different. Some kids were like so obscure and they like would go on LimeWire and whatever. I would watch One Tree Hill.
LimeWire and One Tree. We had the same childhood. Like I was living 3 houses away from you doing the same thing.
That's so funny.
Watching One Tree Hill when I was way too young to watch it.
Yes, I would watch One Tree Hill when I came home from school. They would have the sync at the end of of the emotional music and I would run to the computer. I would type the lyrics in my phone. I would run to the computer.
Excuse me, I still do that. I literally still do that. Like, I'll be like in the middle of an episode of like fucking Gilmore Girls and be like,
oh my god,
what is this song? I need to know. Like,
what do you type in? La 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 la.
Yeah. Okay, the other day I was at CVS pharmacy in the drive-thru. Picking up my MF birth control, and the lady behind me was listening to reggaeton, and I was such a good song. I stuck my phone out and Shazammed it.
Oh
and she was looking at me like, "Are you a crazy person?" I'm like, "Yes." I was like, "What song? Yeah, what song is this?"
I just don't want
like in our hometown.
Feeling it in the moment when you're feeling it in place.
Yes, yes.
I picked my birth control up from that CVS.
Oh my god! I hate it. In another life, or maybe later in this life, I really want to become a wedding planner. Okay, like I'm obsessed with
do it up, boo.
Event planning.
Do you want to plan my wedding?
I will plan like literally anybody's wedding. I've done so much research that I have like too much like, you know what I mean? Like I'm like I have to wear like an outfit every hour because I like too many outfits type situation. Yeah. So I like on my Instagram, I get like a lot of like wedding highlight videos, and I listen to them all with sound, and I'll find like really nice Punjabi songs from the back, and then find them, and then send them to my friends, and I'm like, they're like, where did you find this? And I'm like, I'm just in with the Punjabi music scene. Like, no, I'm watching wedding highlight videos. I literally found a song called Valia like 3 days ago, and it's been stuck in my head, and I love it so much. And my roommate was like, what? And I was like, yeah, I just heard it in the back of someone else's wedding highlight. That I just like.
These are your tricks.
These are my music inspo. This is why I'm a singer.
Exactly.
Listening to wedding highlight videos.
But we all get it in weird places. Like I go to Zara sometimes, and I'm.
Oh yeah, H&M has the greatest song. So for me, I like find these weird ass songs, and I'm just like, I love this song. It's my favorite song.
It's my lifeblood.
It's my life now. So I have like no soundtrack to your life. Yeah,
that's so funny. I used to do that.
Yeah.
And then, but I like I'm a reformed, recovering serial monogamist. So I like so when you do that, you associate that song with a period in your life.
Yes, and then
I would associate that with my boyfriend.
Okay, let me tell you. This is so good that you said that. My roommate and I do this thing where we call it reclaim the song. You gotta go like this. Reclaim the song. It doesn't matter. He sucks, but the song is good and you deserve to listen to it. And you just have to start listening to it when you're doing other things. Like go to the grocery store and listen to your ex-boyfriend your song, okay? You'll be thinking about pomegranates next time you listen to it. Yeah. You'll never again associate with him. You'll be like, oh, I was walking to a grocery store and I saw that like homeless person and that girl in that cute skirt. Like you have to just start thinking about other things and listening to song and integrating it back into your life. I'm so passionate about this. There's a song called Tu Hi Daste by Mickey Singh, and I love that song. And my roommate like associated it. She associated it to this other person, and she and I would associate it to like other like boys that were in our lives at the time. Like, oh my god, ew, and like they're gone now. We don't care about them, so we want the song back. So I just started playing it while we were working from home, and I just be like cooking and like doing stuff. And then like at first we would like cringe, and now we're just like, it's back. It's back home. You can reassociate it with someone new if you want. Like, just reclaim the song. Let's talk about your songwriting process. Like, what is that like?
What even was the question?
Are you Shazamming music in Zara, or are you like? So what is that like? Like, do you have an epiphany? Are you like in the shower? Or do you like watch like some movie and you're like, you know what song would sound good? My song, and then you write a song. Like how I have not written a song before.
So I mentioned this like theory of the muse, and I feel kind of like ridiculous saying that, but I truly believe it. So I read this book called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. If you haven't read it and you're a creative person, 1000% recommend. I think you would super benefit from it. But it talks about the idea of an idea. Okay. And she talks about ideas kind of flying around. She's the one that wrote Eat, Pray, Love.
Oh, nice.
So her writing is really incredible. That's why Eat, Pray, Love was so big. Yeah. The movie sucked. The book was really great. Okay. And it's about all these ideas that are just like kind of floating around. And if you are not open and available, if you do not make yourself open and available to them by doing a plethora of things, then they can go right to someone else and you can miss your idea. So it's, you know, when, I don't know if you have ideas in this way, but when you get an idea and then it almost stops mid-thought and you're like, I'm stuck with this idea, I can't go any further. I will get ideas and like phrases. It's very rarely that I get a whole song. I think when I am in a deep emotional state, I am like open to receiving ideas that in a way that I don't know about. So like my grandfather passed away earlier this year, and it was like a very like traumatic, like sudden thing. I was like traveling when it happened. My dad had to come pick me up. My mom had to go to India, and it was like very sudden. And then all of a sudden I was like alone, and it was like the beginning of the pandemic. It was a very dark time, and I just sat at the piano, and I don't really play piano, but a song flew out of me.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I don't even remember. It's like I blacked out, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the first song idea that I got, the song Alchemy. I literally like, I don't know why I was in the tent alone. Everyone else was partying outside. I don't know why. I just decided to go for my voice memos, but I did. And I wrote a whole verse and a chorus.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it just happens.
Yeah.
And for me, I noticed that there are certain things that I can do to allow that to happen.
Yeah.
So, checking out of social media.
Yeah.
Like, TikTok has been the number one reason why I have been growing my following, but while I have not been writing music.
Okay.
And for me, do I care about growing my following? No, so I have to constantly try to remind myself. Put the TikTok
Realign
away.
with what you want to do.
On the train, I try to read, or I try to like just sit with my notes open. On moving vehicles, for me, it comes like this. It's crazy, like in the shower sometimes, but this is why I live in Brooklyn. Everyone's like, why don't you live in Manhattan? Blah, 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 blah. It's cheaper now, blah, blah, blah. I need the commute. I need the commute because if I don't have the commute, I won't be writing music. For the song Say It, I was in the streets of Crown Heights, so literally here, and I had a fight with some of my friends. And it was like, I don't have drama with my friend groups anymore. These are people I love and respect and admire. There was an escalation of a situation. It just got out of hand. We're all good now. But in that moment, I was like really hurt by some of the things that were said. And so I was like kind of ruminating on that the weeks following. And I was like walking last year in August around the streets of Brooklyn. And just like in my head, like, why'd you say it? Like, why'd you have to say it like that? Like, why did you say it like that? And also kind of in my head, like, I talk a lot, as you can tell. And sometimes I say shit that I don't mean. Yeah. And I am embarrassed by that. And so the response of like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean it like that. I understand when you put your foot in your mouth and you say something you don't mean.
Yeah.
And it's this like social anxiety thing that I have that I'm constantly leveling that with myself. And so I recorded a voice memo. I probably still have it in my phone right now.
That's incredible that you just like have that, like you're able to like pull a moment from your real life and just go with it. And I guess you're right, like being open to those ideas is like so much more helpful than being like, this is the kind of music I want to make. Because it's hard. You can't like, you always want to do one thing, but you're not going to like do exactly what you want based on what's going on in your life.
We didn't end up talking about it, but like, I don't sound like Radiohead.
Yeah.
I love Banks. She's super dark, super broody, super, super cool. Electronic. I would love to sound like her. I don't sound like that. I don't look like that. I'm not Jillian Banks. I'm Archana. I'm my own. I wish I could be like Kimbra sometimes. I'm not Kimbra. I'm Archana. Again, and all these people are white too. Mm-hmm. So like, for me, it's like, well, I don't look like that. So even if I wanted to try to be like that, I couldn't. Because I'm literally physically brown. So, I kind of have to make the most of it and then embrace that with things like my name and,
But that's important. Like, because you're not that, now you have to be yourself. Yeah. And that's good. Yeah. Like, in its own way, that is so important. That you're like, okay, you know what? Like, I'm not this. I'm gonna be myself. Because I have no choice. Exactly. And that's it. And, like, someone now is able to like look up to you and be like, well, I do look like that, but maybe my voice is different. Yeah. And like that chain of like something and then something else is like important, right? What is the difference between Archana the musician and Archana the real person?
There isn't one.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you like, so you, like it's one for you?
There's a difference between Archie the person and Archana the person.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So she used to go by Archie.
People still call me Archie.
I know, I keep like correcting myself.
Everyone calls me Archie. You can call me Archie, you can call me Archie.
I just knew you as Archie beforehand, so so like...
Everyone calls me Archie. There's nothing negative about it. It's just that when you move to this country and you have a name like Archana, people want to shorten it because they can't pronounce it. There is Archana, there is Archana, no one was ever really, and I would just say yes. And for so many years, like in classrooms and whatever. Someone sent me a message on Instagram the other day and said, I am so sorry that your teachers never took the time to learn how to pronounce your beautiful name. Yeah. And I was like, wow, thank you. Yeah. I feel like that healed me a little bit.
No, I'm like having such a rough time too, because like my name is easy to pronounce, but it's spelled silly. And I always have clients that will call me like whatever they feel like. And it's in my email signature, and people I work with, I've been working at this company for a year now. So what that tells me is that you don't care how to pronounce my name, you don't care who I am, and you just want your shit done. Which is cute, but not that cute, you know what I mean? It's like no respect, because it's in my bio. And there are people that are not Indian, that have pronounced that have never met me, will get on a phone call and be like, Zooey, blah, blah, blah. Like, they know exactly how to say it, because it's like, I literally have like Zooey Desai, associate client leadership, whatever, and then it'll say like pronounced ZOO-EE. Zoo-E. Like there's no like, how could it be? Like it's right there. You just don't want her to care.
People
you don't
take
care.
The time. And so to have then changed my name for the purposes of me walking around the planet for everyone else to be Archie, and then for that also the immediate. So what's your name? Archana. How do you pronounce Archana? There's trauma there. There's stress there, right? It's a little bit of an irritant. And then you go to Archie and it's like, oh, like the comic, oh, Archibald, like Archie Bunker, like, oh, haha, like Archibald, can I call you Archibald? And it's just like, I've never felt entirely comfortable with my name. Like, let me live. Like, this is just my name.
Just
like,
my name,
I
bro.
changed it for you guys and you're still like giving me shit for it. So, you know, I like the name Archie. It's cute, but when I was deciding to go with my artist name, because me releasing music feels like coming back into my body and like really, you know, being on this self process, and that's what this musical project is all about, and that's what I'm about right now. Archana just felt right.
On to a really fun and flirty question. If you could have 3 people featured on a full album with you, it could be anybody in the world. Who are these 3 people, and what kind of songs are we like making with them? Like what vibes? You know what I mean?
I'm screaming. I'm stressed. I wish you had given me this question.
No, because I want to put you on the spot.
I would totally do. I would do Banks.
Okay.
I think we would make some really cool shit together. I would do. I mean, like, I'm really into Dua Lipa right now.
Dua Lipa's cool.
Her album is so good.
I want her to fix her hair, but I'm like all about her music.
I love her hair. Let her live. I don't know if I'd write with Dua. I would, and she would probably like outshine me, so I don't want that. Our juices wouldn't vibe, but I want her whole team, like her production team and her writers. Like I would like to write with them. And
she really introduced like a new genre to music. I feel like
it's just so good.
It's so good.
Anything she puts out is just constantly good pop music, and it's like it feels like artistry to me.
But it's like new pop music. Yeah, it's like new pop music, not what other people are doing. Yeah.
And she does write, you know, parts of it, but she has a team of people that write with her and the producers, and I think that's like a really cool team. I want to work with them. And then another third one. Oh, I'd probably do like Daniel Caesar.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
I would cry if you guys made a song together.
No, it would be like
I would like listen to it and cry.
I don't say it is a bop. It is a bop. It's like a it's a pop bop.
Yeah.
But like
you and Daniel would make a sad boy bop.
I write sad boy music. Like that is what I.
But we're like both inherently sad boys, so that's why we get along. I just like lay in my bed and like watch the rain and listen to Arjit sing, crying about a breakup that I didn't have. You know what I mean? I'm also like obsessed with the slowed and reverbed lifestyle on. I can't stop talking about it. I know is that sacrilegious to music people? I'm so sorry.
No, it's so good.
No, it's so good. Oh my god, thank God you said. I thought you were gonna be like, bitch.
This is the height of creativity.
Yeah, like
for our people.
Slowed and reverbed Hindi music slaps in ways that I never knew I needed to be slapped. And I was like listening to it, and she like texted me from her room like, "Are you depressed?" And I was like, "No, I'm actually having the best time right now."
Is, like,
I'm literally just staring at
like,
the like amazing view, and I'm just like, I love music. Like
I know, but I literally do that. Sometimes I just listen to music, and I'm like,
I can like
love music,
lay there,
and I cry,
right? Like I'll cry and be like,
this
is the best song I've ever
so
heard.
much. Like okay, another one I would collaborate with, Frank Ocean, like insane. And I got into him pretty late, but like I listen to his music sometimes, and I'm like, I'm going to cry.
This has led us to our final question.
Yeah.
The most important question.
Okay.
Archana, who do you like right now? Let's get into it. How's your dating life? That was the first thing she said to me when she walked in. She was like, "So guys, like, how are your dating lives?" Like,
I want to know. I like to know.
Yeah, it's good to know.
Also, like, it's fun to like talk about dating life being young in New York City. So if you want to start a podcast, I'm trying to start a podcast about dating life in New York City. Let's go.
I have a lot to say.
So I really like. Okay, in terms of Indian creators.
Okay, let's do that. I love that.
I really like. I think it's pronounced Hemal Patel. She's super, super dope. And, like, she just doesn't care about what anyone else thinks. She just creates. And I really admire that drive. Like, it's, like, what I'm doing currently, but, like, on steroids. And I want to, like, get steroided up and do that. I don't want to do steroids. It was a metaphor.
I want to do drugs.
I want to be able to put content out that often.
And be like, I don't give a shit.
And be like, I don't give a shit. But also, like, she works her ass off. She puts together these looks. She does these photo shoots. She styles every single one. She directs all of the music videos and everything that she does. And she takes the pictures herself. Like, it's insane. I want to be that self-sufficient. Yeah, I want to be that self-sufficient. And I'm not. I'm like, I need help. So I'm looking up to her. She's an icon. What else? I am currently really digging the Dua album. I'm not joking. Like, listen to the one that was a club future nostalgia. When you wake up in the morning and you're like, I need coffee and I have bags under my eyes, and you listen to club future nostalgia and you're like, all of a sudden you're like in a disco video.
I love that.
I am I also like the book Big Magic. We already talked about it by Elizabeth Gilbert, but if you're a creator, you should totally read that book. It's incredible. And I like myself finally after many years of not loving myself, and I like my therapist. Thank you.
I like my therapist. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, therapist.
Oh, and now I'm a dog person. I just needed to share that.
Were you a cat person before?
I was such a cat person.
I'm still a cat person. I like both. I don't care. If it's fuzzy and small, like, I'm happy about it.
Yeah, Ashita got a puppy over quarantine.
Okay, that's her sister.
My sister got a puppy. His name is Loki. Shout out my boo-boo child. I love you so much.
My boo-boo child.
Boo-boo.
Get out of here. You did not just say, shout out my boo-boo child to your sister's dog.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on my show. We had such a good time together.
Thanks for having me.
This was actually the most ridiculous episode. I think we've said the funniest shit in this episode, and I'm so happy for it. So, guys, if you like this episode, please like and subscribe, and check out her music, link in bio. Bye.
Oh my god, link in bio.